Welcome everybody. Tonight is Tuesday, September 26th. It is 7:30-ish p.m. Wow, it's right on time. We are here in Town Hall in room 206, and I need to give a shout out to my father-in-law. Hopefully he's watching. He's very concerned about the fire department. Angel, apparently, hey Papa, how are you? He called me 5 minutes ago. I said I was late. Tonight we have a public hearing and a general meeting. It's a pretty short agenda, but we'll get right into it. The first item in the public hearing is proposal to amend the Darien Zoning Map COZM -1-2023 PL-23-121 put forth by the Noroton Fire Department, 1921 Boston Post Road, special permit application number 332, site plan. Proposal to amend the Darien Zoning Map to apply the Municipal Use Overlay Zone, MU, to 1921 Boston Post Road. Proposal to convert the existing building on the site to a 3-bedroom, single-family residence for housing of volunteer firemen and to perform related site development activities. A total of 4 surface level parking spaces will remain behind the building. The 0.12 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the north side of Boston Post Road, approximately 165 feet east of its intersection with Garden City, and is shown on Garden City Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 42 as Lot 4 in the Noroton Business Zone, NB Zone. This is exactly what the MU zone was written for, to accommodate uses for the town of Darien. A quick overview. This is a house that's been on the market for sale. At one time it was a single-family house. Then it sold. Then it went to Fox Hill Builders. It was their headquarters for a year. Then it went to another gentleman, and now it is on the market for sale. And we have an application from the fire department to do something with this beautiful house. Fred, what am I missing?
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well, Steve. The application, as you mentioned, was submitted by the Noroton Heights Fire Department as a 2-part application. The first part to change the zone of the property to apply the Municipal Use Overlay Zone to this one particular property. And for special permit approval for the use of the existing house as a single-family residence within that overlay zone. The Municipal Use Overlay Zone was adopted by the Planning and Zoning Commission several years ago, and the Fire Department is looking to apply that to this property. Single-family homes or housing would not otherwise be permitted in the underlying neighborhood business zone. So they're seeking to apply this municipal use to allow for the use of this house for housing of volunteer firemen for the Noroton Heights Fire Department. Any use within this zone, within the neighborhood business zone, does require special permit approval by the commission. So they are also seeking that approval for the housing. Bob Bush, the fire marshal, is here this evening to present the application and answer any questions that you may have.
Fantastic. Just for a additional overview, the MU zone was created when the new library was built on the Post Road, and that's at least 10, 12 years ago. It's actually probably longer than that. And then in the last few years, we applied the Municipal Use Overlay Zone to every single firehouse in the town of Darien, and we also applied it to all the schools, town hall, and most municipal buildings. So if this is going to be a municipal use, it makes sense to convert another building for municipal use into the MU zone. So I would like to welcome Mr. Bush up to the podium with anyone that he would like. We have all your application materials. Everyone on the commission reviewed them. So why don't you tell us what else you plan to do, and if we're missing anything.
Sure.
Welcome, sir. Just state your name and affiliation for the
Bob
record.
Bush Sr., I'm also the Vice President at Noroton Fire Department. Bob Bush Jr., First Assistant Chief with Noroton Fire Department.
Fantastic.
The plan is to try and preserve the volunteer service in town. We all know the cost of housing for Darien. We're having members that join at a young age, as young as 16 years old, going through high school. We're training them as they go on to college. They come back in their off time in college. We continue to train them. We invest a lot of time and money in them. Once they graduate college and they don't want to live at home anymore, they can't afford to live in town. Even apartment costs are too much for starting off as a young job. We're looking to be able to retain them in town, close to the firehouse. You know, it's 3 or 4 doors down. And we would purchase the property, convert it back to a single-family home, put a kitchen in, another bathroom, and 3 bedrooms. And we would house volunteer firefighters to help be ready for when we have emergencies, you know, calls. They would be expected to be available more frequently. You know, they would be expected to show up more often than other volunteers are expected to, because we are providing them housing. We will be charging rent. This is not for free housing for them.
Great. Couple of questions. We know that there's 4 existing parking spaces in the back of the building, so that complies with anything we need for that?
That's correct.
There's no garage, right?
Correct.
I do have a couple of questions, and I also want to talk to these guys too, see if we can help you out and help the town at the same exact time. My first question is, how do we assure that the people that live in the building are firemen? Is it, you want to do some kind of, you know, proof of residency like we do in other buildings?
I spoke to Bob Bush Sr. prior to the meeting about that, and I think you represented to me that one of the conditions of living there will be a certain amount of volunteer hours.
Yep. You're required to make a certain amount of hours. You will be required to be an active member of the Noroton Fire Department. If we can't fill it from within the ranks of Noroton, it will be offered to volunteers from Darien or Noroton Heights Fire Department.
That was
as
the
well.
next piece of my question. Okay, that's cool. So I guess the only thing we're gonna need for paperwork is to have you submit anytime a tenant changes, I guess, in the building. So if, like, you know, Bob Bush Jr. moves out and another guy moves in, it just says that, you know, you certify this guy, fire department guy.
Sure, and he's
Okay.
with which department? It doesn't really matter as long as he's with the
Yeah.
Noroton Heights or Darien.
That was my other thing, that you already answered that. If there wasn't 3 guys at Noroton Heights or 3 women at Noroton Heights, at Noroton that want to live there, would you open it up to the other ones?
Yeah.
But obviously, your firehouse is buying it, so I guess you would get first crack at it. This second item is, it's more for you guys to think about. How can we convert this to 830G or affordable housing to get points for it from the state?
Right, that was a question. We did ask town council about that possibility. And their response, on a very preliminary basis, was 830G is designed, when you read the statute, to be advertised throughout a region. So for example, when Garden Homes came in many years ago.
Let's hold on to it, because you're right, it's a protected class, and if we're only fire department guys, that doesn't go to.
Right.
So let's say if we switch it the other way and just make it affordable housing and not 830G, does it have to get advertised?
Under 830G, you do have to advertise.
What about if it's not 830G?
If it's not 830G, it's exactly what they're doing now, which is you don't get points per se for a moratorium, but it does fulfill a need in the community.
But don't we get points for like Corbin and for federal? Those aren't 830G.
For the affordable.
Right, so you would
And they
get
run
points
that
for the,
process.
if these do end up being deed restricted affordable, they wouldn't count necessarily towards a moratorium,
But you still have to go through the process of opening up to
Yeah.
anybody.
Yep.
opening them up
Yep.
to anybody.
Okay. What I was trying to do, Bob, was see if we could craft it some way, shape, or form, how you made it affordable housing. I mean, I know it's gonna be affordable, and it's gonna be, you know, what, the ability of the firemen to pay, or the fire persons to pay, firefighters, I think they call them.
I think though,
I
to
don't think we can do that.
to that point, there's, affordable housing that meets certain criteria, and then there's the spirit of affordable housing, which we are trying to move the needle on, regardless of whether we're getting points or not.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that's, yeah.
We're trying to make affordable housing, but we're also trying to make housing affordable.
Yep.
Which is really what it is. It's pretty straightforward to me. I don't really have any questions.
I have two questions. 3 bedrooms, but what is the occupancy?
It would be for 3 firefighters.
Okay. And any restrictions on what can be parked, that you don't envision ever using that fire parking lot for overflow?
For fire apparatus or
Yeah,
anything?
yeah.
No.
No, it would just be their personal vehicles?
Yep.
Okay.
And, if they have guests or whatever, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, all right.
What about a chief's vehicle? Is that considered?
What I mean is that, not a truck. Not
Yeah.
not a truck.
So if a chief or an assistant chief that has a vehicle live there, they would be having that vehicle there, similar to having it at their home.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay. Mike, anything?
One, thank you very much for keeping us safe, right? Nobody mentioned that, but I think it's important to recognize you guys do a great job for the town. What keeps this from becoming, if we put a bunch of 20-somethings in this house, what prevents it from becoming a nuisance to the neighbors with parties, things of that nature? Obviously you have a rank and hierarchy in your
Yes,
system.
and there will be
I just need to
house
ask the
rules
question.
associated with their leases, and removal for cause for inappropriate actions or
And then
improper behavior.
do you keep a log of again?
We do keep a log of hours for firefighters, for each firefighter, because in order to qualify for the tax abatement that the town offers, we have to count for their hours.
And Jeremy, is that something you have access to, or would that be something you'd want access to make sure that these volunteers that are getting this privilege are also, putting in the hours that they're supposed to?
I think that's their control.
That's fine.
Yeah, I guess as long as they can keep the records.
Adam, anything special?
No, I'm good. It's a straightforward application.
Ben, I think it's fantastic. Now we need to get the police to do it.
Board of Ed to do it. Would anybody in the general population like to speak to this application? If you want to, please come up. You have to come up to the podium, sir, and just state your name for the record.
Pat Devlin, one of the neighbors. Will you guys have a dumpster?
No, there's no way not a dumpster.
Right.
We've got 3 people operating as, basically as a single family.
How does this get financed?
So we are taking out a loan, and
Bob, if you might just go up to the podium.
Sorry, Bob.
we can plan to take out a loan, a mortgage on the property to pay for the house, and with rental income to help balance off the pay the loan.
Yeah, for full disclosure, I got the RFP from the bank when this was requested, from a bank when this was requested, and I denied that RFP because it was subject to a municipal approval. So I got it. So it's all set.
And then,
You get to ask the question to us, we'll ask him. Go ahead.
I think that's it. As long as we don't have any liability for the town, it seems like a great idea.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's what we have town council for, to make sure there's no liability. But
Yep.
just for the record, there's people and kids that sleep inside post 53 overnight, and
I
they don't
knew
have
that.
residents there. We also have the other municipal building where the EMTs sleep on the other end of town.
Paramedics, yeah.
The paramedics have their
701
own
Post Road.
special building. And I don't know if there's any bunks inside any of the other firehouses.
Noroton Heights does have a bunk room.
I thought so. But they basically stay there when they're on shift, if they're on the dark shift, right?
More so for bad weather cases, because it's not really conducive to day-to-day living.
Got it. Okay, thank you. You all set, sir?
Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. Anything we're missing, guys? So we're doing this as one application and one approval? Or are you going to write it up as 2 separates?
Probably 2 separate would be my guess.
I would say 2 separate for consistency and
Yeah,
precedence
be-
for everything
Be
else.
clear, so.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, fantastic. We're all set. I would entertain a motion to close the hearing. Adam makes a motion, I'm looking for a second. Amy makes a second. All in favor? Hearing's
Very
closed.
close. Great.
We'll deliberate on this. We have any deliberations tonight? No,
Either
right?
tonight or next week, and then get a decision out week after maybe.
We might,
All goes
we
well.
might have, if we have time, we can deliberate tonight. Okay.
They do it tonight.
We have a quick
Okay.
deliberation
Yeah.
tonight, very short one.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, thank you. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Great job. Great idea, guys. Next item on the agenda. Land filling and regrading application number 555 PL-23-114, Theresa N. Iorfino Revocable Trust at 9 Richmond Drive. Proposes to raise the existing residence and construct a new single-family dwelling in generally the same location, construction of a porch and back deck areas, reconfiguration of the existing driveway, and perform related site development activities, including regrading of the property and installation of stormwater management. The 0.52 plus or minus acres subject property is located on the west side of Richmond Drive, approximately 430 feet north of its intersection with Boston Post Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 13 as lot number 9 in the R1 half zone. Gentlemen, what do we got?
Yep, so this application was submitted in conformance with section 850 of the regulations under the land filling regrading regulations. Steve, you provided a good overview of what the applicant proposes. The application was referred out to Joe Canis of Taya Bond. He submitted comments for the record dated August 23rd. And the applicant submitted a response to Mr. Canis's comments dated September 7th. Joe Canis subsequently signed off on the modifications put forth and submitted by the applicant. The applicant's representative, I believe Brian Smith from DeAndrea Surveying Engineering, is here this evening to present the application and answer any questions you may have.
Fantastic. Welcome, sir.
Good
I guess that sometimes I used to put stuff on the podium, but I gotta do that anymore.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
I brought boards like it was pre-technology. Should I pull them up?
It's up to you,
Sure.
or you can
Okay.
just tell us which board, and we can pull them up on the screen. Your choice, Brian.
And just state your name for the record, please.
You might just slide out one of those chairs and use that as your easel.
Brian Smith from DeAndrea Surveying and Engineering, PC.
Fantastic. Yeah, the chair that's on it,
At the table.
On the table.
the one that's on the
arms.
table, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening. I'm going to give a quick property background. I'll try not to repeat anything that was said in the report. Land lies in the R1 half zone. Total property 22,563 square feet. No wetlands on the property. There is an existing large knoll along the front yard that we're proposing to remain as is and untouched. Existing background for the site now. Single-family dwelling that is proposed to be raised and rebuilt. A very large paved driveway across the front yard, which is proposed to be modified, shrunk down significantly, and we plan to repave it due to some existing bumps in the asphalt that are uncomfortable. The stone patio in the rear will be removed. The site generally drains from north to south as part of the overall neighborhood watershed. And as far as utilities, there's existing 4-inch sanitary sewer, exits the front, connects to the sewer main at Richmond Drive. Gas service is provided by a front yard buried propane tank. I'm sorry, not buried, just propane tank, front yard. Electric service is overhead wire from northeast corner of the property from pole 3353, and water service from the water main in Richmond Drive. Our proposal would be a new single-family dwelling with an attached garage, covered front porch, rear yard first floor deck, small rear yard second floor deck, and driveway modification. We will maintain the curb cut. As mentioned before, driveway will be regraded and repaved, but the footprint will remain from Richmond Drive into the property. Dwelling will be placed in the general location of the existing dwelling in the center of the property, with frontage facing east towards Richmond Drive. We're going to keep site grading to the minor extent practical. Really, it was to grade around the building and slight grading to maintain existing drainage patterns from north to south. The driveway footprint will significantly decrease by placing our proposed garage on the north side closer to the existing curb cut. We will have a little asphalt in the front for a back out area from the new garage. And I just want to make note that the structure will actually be further away from both of the side neighboring property lines compared to existing conditions. Proposed utilities will extend the 4-inch lateral, provide a clean out at the new connection just off the driveway in the front yard. We'll be installing a new buried larger propane tank in the front by the driveway for delivery truck access. We'd like to convert the overhead wires to buried electrical feed that will travel from the pole along the northerly property line. And in the same vicinity, we will have the water connection service from the water meter in the right-of-way to the new dwelling. We meet all zoning compliance criteria. Maximum building coverage is 20%. Our proposed is 16%. And I'll touch quickly on, can I move into drainage, or would you like me to stop for questions?
A couple quick, why do we have to see this one?
It's just a regrading, because of the regrading. But, yeah, it's not in the flood zone, it's not in the coastal
Right.
area, it's just, and most of the regrading is actually very close to the house.
Right, because that's what he said. He said there's only minor regrading, it's next to
It
the
is-
house.
When we looked at the application originally, needs a permit, but just barely.
Right.
So not a lot of regrading here. Because
What's-
that knoll in the front, you're keeping that.
Existing-
There's a little regrading on the north property line, a little bit on the south of the house.
Exactly. It's like when you drop the house in like Wizard of Oz, you have to do some massaging in order to get pitch away from the foundation, but also not have a negative impact on the neighboring properties.
I've never heard the Wizard of Oz reference here in 10 years. That's awesome.
If the regrading is close enough to the property line, and it just is slightly over the trigger?
Yes.
Okay, because it doesn't look like it's, I
Yeah,
had the
it's-
same impression, like,
Yeah.
why are we looking at this?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Is there gas service on your street?
I'm sorry?
Is there gas service on the street on Richmond?
No.
Oh.
Please come up to
Sounds
the
like
podium.
With me tonight is Theresa Iorfino, who is the trustee for the property.
The gas line is on Route 1. I
Right.
contacted Eversource, and they told me for $200 per foot,
Yeah.
they would bring the line to me. And I'm not gonna do it, because I'm not gonna pay for all my neighbors to get hooked in for free.
I got this.
They had the opportunity 26 years ago to get hooked in for free, no cost, and they all said no.
Yeah.
So,
Got
to
it.
answer your question, no, there's no gas on the street.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a net cut and fill on this one?
Yes. We have an approximate cut of 346 cubic feet and an approximate fill of 44 cubic feet for a net of 302 all cubic yards. Cut 346 cubic yards, fill 44 for a net of 302 cubic yards of cut.
So you're taking like 4 truckloads out or something like that.
Because of the expansion of the dwelling, additional basement
More
area.
foundation.
Yeah, for the foundation. Okay.
I can run through the drainage very quickly since we obtained sign-off from Ty and Bond, if you'd like.
Yeah, you got 3 sets of Caltex?
Yes, exactly.
Go
So
ahead.
the driveway will be collected through a catch basin at a low point in the front turnaround area. We'll go to 6 large Caltech units equipped with pop-up emitters that won't be activated until at least a 25-year storm. The roof water will be collected and sent to 12 same model, the largest Caltex for residential use in the back, again with 3 pop-up emitters, fully storing water quality, groundwater, recharge regulation. And we supplied 2 Coltex in the southwest corner with 2 pop-up emitters for the footing drain. I know that pumping of footing water is a hot subject in Darien. When we performed our soil testing for drainage installation, we dug 12 to 18 inches past the proposed basement slab. Did not encounter models or actual groundwater, which is a great sign. But we needed to have an outlet for the footing anyway. We wanted to provide the chambers so there would be storage. God forbid we actually had water pumping out of there.
Yeah, your perk test results are on one of the pages, and then it came along good. What there is, I didn't see the map. Is there a map that's got the zoning box on it?
It should be on
Right
these,
there. I think
zo-
it's that one?
That one?
the zoning location survey. Would you like me to bring it up for you?
Yeah, I was trying to see the zoning box. We got yelled at for not having the zoning box on some map. Got it, we're good. Okay. You're all set, right, sir?
Last thing, just sedimentation erosion controls will be installed an anti-tracking mat standard. Silt fence along both the neighboring property lines, and silt sack and hay bales for the new catch basin that's going in so that we don't contaminate the basin, the pipes, or the installed Coltex at that time.
The catch basin's in the middle of the driveway, right?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Adam, any questions for this applicant?
Also straightforward.
Yeah, Mike, you okay? Any questions, sir?
Yeah, just one. Are you proposing a generator?
Yes, there is a proposed generator slab shown on the north side
Got it.
of the proposed line.
I got it.
Yep. And then the air conditioning containment units are on the south side.
Yeah.
Yep, they're all okay with setbacks.
Yep.
Miss
All good.
Barsanti, all good?
All good.
Okay. Would anybody in the general public like to speak to this application? Well, good. Jeremy and Fred, did we miss anything?
No.
Okay, it's pretty straightforward. I think you did a very nice job, sir.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion to close. Mike makes a motion, Amy makes a second. All in favor? Fantastic. Hearing's closed.
Great night.
We might get back to you tonight. I'm not sure. Well, we shall see. Thank you. Joe Canis signed up on that one. Okay. Next item on the agenda is land filling and regrading application number 556 PL-23-122. Brian and Brett Edgar at 30 Hilton Street. Proposes to raise the existing residence and detached garage and construct a new single-family dwelling. Construction of a new driveway, retaining walls, and patio area, and perform related site development activities, including the excavation and regrading of the property and installation of stormwater management. The 0.17 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the west side of Hilton Street, approximately 160 feet north of its intersection with West Avenue, and is shown on Assessor's Map number 22 as lot number 26 in the R1 5th zone. Gentlemen, what do we got? This doesn't need a variance, does it? 0.17 is...
Nope, it does not require a variance. The application was submitted under section 850 of the Darien Zoning Regulations under our land filling, excavation, regrading regulations. A portion of the existing house is within the side yard setback and will remain in the side yard setback. The applicant proposes to raise or demo a good portion of the residence and keep the portion of the residence that is currently in the non-conforming portion of the lot, and then rebuild around that, or in addition to that, creating a new residence on the property. The applicant is also abandoning the existing driveway, which is a shared driveway with the neighbor, converting that to lawn area and cutting in a new driveway from Hilton Street to a garage at the lower level of the house. Amy Zabatakis, the applicant's representative, is here this evening to present the application and answer any questions.
But it's an undersized lot, right?
Yeah.
Quick question before we get into that. Does the 50% rule apply on this?
No, it does not. The 50% rule would only apply if the property was in the flood zone.
So, to the extent that they're not changing more than the 50% of the value of the home, they don't have to make everything conforming, including that one portion of the house that is over the setback?
Right, that's correct.
Does not apply?
Because they're not changing
Depth of the house.
the volume of the section of the house that is encroaching into the setback.
Yep.
There's no need to seek a variance for that portion that is non-conforming.
Okay, thank
Anyone
you.
talk to Woody about that?
We did, we had,
He's a stickler on those.
well, we had,
You would know.
Amy Zabatakis, myself, and Fred, and Woody, and Mr. Edgar, who's the property owner, and Mike Revocable, who's the builder. We talked a lot about this application in terms of what permits and approvals are needed, and we were comfortable walking out of the meeting that all they needed was this regrading permit just to get the cut, because right now the property goes up, and they want to cut into the, hill is the wrong word, it's 20 feet from the front slope from Hilton Street underneath the garage. Other than that, by keeping that, I'll call it the north side of the house, there's a little, I think it's about 10 to 12 feet wide there. They're allowed to keep that. If they were building from scratch, it would need a variance, but they're going to keep that.
It's less than 10 to 12 feet, but yes.
Ms. Zabatakis, welcome.
Thank you. Amy Zabatakis, Rucci Law Group. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I have with me here the property owners, Brian and Brett Edgar, project architect, Michael Lubuglio. We also have the builder, Scott Hersey. Our engineer, Wayne Devanzo, is on his way, but I'm going to try to... Oh, you made it. Sorry, didn't see you walk in. So, is here. So good. We have everyone. And they're available to answer any questions that you might have. So the property is a 1/5 acre parcel in the 1/5 zone. But because of the shape, it is below the minimum lot width. The way the regulations are, you can rebuild on a lot, a legally non-conforming lot that's below the lot width.
So it is legal non-conforming?
Yes.
That's what I said. Okay.
So the existing setback, as we've discussed, is the existing house is slightly within the setbacks to the north. It's also within the setbacks to the front, and the garage, the detached garage, which is, I don't know why I'm pointing at my computers if you can see what I'm pointing at. Detached garage back here is fully within the side yard setback. So the proposal is to, we'll remove this garage. The front of the house is coming back, but we are keeping that portion of the house to the north. And that portion of the house to the north will not be expanded in any way, will not be higher than it is today. As Jeremy pointed out, the purpose of the application is under 850 for land filling and regrading because the street right now, Hilton Street, is lower than the grade where the house is. The lot slopes upwards. So they will cut into the slope and have a garage right underneath the house that will be even with Hilton Street. In doing this, they'll also be able to, here we go. By doing that, they will also be able to remove the asphalt driveway, which is currently to the south of the property. It's not actually a shared driveway, it's just the two driveways actually touch one another. So this will be better for everybody. There'll now be lawn there. And in place of what's now asphalt, there will actually be stormwater retention, as well as stormwater retention to the rear of the property that does not exist now. So it will improve drainage in the neighborhood. The plans have been reviewed by Joe Canis, who gave a favorable report on the drainage as well. Let's see, the only other, I guess, sort of regrading comments that I would make are there will be retaining walls on either side of the driveway. To the extent that those go over the 42 inches, there'll be fences on top of that. But that'll be, again, just for the purposes of the driveway to go straight into the garage, into the house. That's really all that I have. Not that exciting, unless there are any questions you have for myself or for any of the team.
Adam?
No questions on this one either. Also pretty straightforward, digging still.
Mike?
Drainage, did we take fresh meadow approach on this?
We did.
Okay. I didn't see that in the report.
It's I don't think he used the word fresh meadow. I think in the first page of his report, he used the words, as in, I think it was a vacant lot is the phrase he used. But yes, it is a fresh meadow report. Yeah, let's see. For purposes of this analysis, the existing conditions were considered to be a vacant lot. That was on the first page of his report, which is the fresh meadow report.
Two things, and in the peer review, I just want to make sure there was one concern about the upper Coltec with the pressures on the basement. Did they change that? Did they alleviate his concerns or address his concerns with regards to, I think your engineer stepping forward, the concern that was raised about the pressure of under the new foundation?
I will say Joe did issue 2 letters, and in the second letter said that all of his concerns have been addressed, but I'll certainly let you speak with the engineer, since he made it here.
Yes, thank you, yes. For the record, Wayne DeVanzo, Fairfield County Engineering. Yes, we did address that with Joe, and it is a minor amount, actually, of the retention that's in the rear, and it is going to be dissipated into the groundwater. We feel it's up and away from the foundation enough that it won't affect it.
Okay.
Laterally from it, I should say.
And then my second question is, I did drive by and I saw the 2 driveways that are abutted. So I'm envisioning that being, that grade doesn't change, so that neighbor doesn't have to worry about suddenly, that the grade where they would be backing out of their garage does not change at all. It would just be, if they happen to go beyond their asphalt, they would just be on grass.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we're not changing any of the grade on the other property or their driveway.
Okay.
No, I think she went on your property next to the driveway.
Yeah, no, meaning, say that there is a teenage child and they're learning how to back up out of their garage, out of that garage, and they used to be, their 30 Hilton's driveway to absorb the error. Now suddenly, I just want to make sure it's not a dramatic.
Yeah, that strip of land on our property, is not going to change dramatically.
Okay.
There's some grade.
Because the retaining walls are, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, the retaining.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
So that asphalt's gonna come out, just get replaced with grass, but the plane of the driveway and the grass is gonna be the same.
Yeah, and on this plan, you can see that the grade lines are unchanged. There will be there's a slight change in the slope as you get closer to the staircase, but not, it's basically the same grade, it's just slightly different texture,
where
shall we say.
Where that proposed masonry staircase is, right there where your pointer is, that's not at all in line with where the neighbors backing up could be?
No, because the driveways come out into Hilton Street. The pavement on Hilton Street is all the way out here.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
You're basically chopping off the front of the house and putting a 2-car garage underneath the front of the house.
Yes. Correct.
And backing it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 more questions.
Good, Mike.
Overflow for the Coltex?
The overflows for the Caltex occur, they would be allowed to back up to it's all connected to the roof, so it would overflow at the cleanouts for the roofs, which is more conservative than just overflowing over the Caltex.
Say that one more time?
The overflows will occur at the cleanouts of the downspouts.
So it would back
Near
up to
the house,
downspouts?
near the house, yeah, which is farther away from property lines, which is, I think, better.
Okay, so they're sealed. The Coltex themselves are sealed?
Yeah, correct, right. There's an inspection board on them, but yeah, they're sealed.
Okay.
So then the overflow would go down the foundation?
No, the overflow would go down the sides of the house, it'd go down the sides of the property to the front, actually.
What's next to the foundation?
Okay.
But yes,
Yeah, it
it's
is,
the foundation.
it is near the foundation, yeah.
In the front, where it would be captured by the driveway?
It would flow down, probably down the lawn areas of the side yards.
Okay.
And again, those are just overflows for at a 25 and 50-year storm, really.
That's, sorry, just to clarify, that's the existing condition now, obviously, is everything flows from the downspouts onto the property. Now we
Yep.
actually have some retention on the property.
Yep. And how much was the surface increased, new versus existing? As far as,
I mean, are you
Impervious
asking for
surface.
Yeah,
coverage, or
yeah.
are you asking
Yeah.
for
Impervious.
impervious surface?
impervious surface?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because for the existing conditions, we do have it as lawn, so I don't have the existing total impervious coverage. The proposed is a little over 2,500 square feet, but I'm not sure what the existing is.
Wouldn't the existing, shouldn't the existing be going down? Because you're making the driveway smaller, you're just making the
Well,
front
the
of the house
existing-
smaller to get rid of the garage.
We're
Yeah.
taking the existing to be just lawn, so we're saying the existing condition is 0 impervious surface, 0
Right, so
square
doing
feet.
fresh meadow.
Well, yeah, on the fresh meadow.
But I think, Steve, to answer your question, I think if you look at the totality of the impervious surfaces being removed, it's going to be the same, if not less, than what's there now.
Yep, between the garage and the.
Between the
lawn,
garage, the
driveway.
front of the house, the driveway is much smaller now.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
thank you.
And one last one.
Okay.
You've got 2 front yard setbacks. You've got a zoning setback, and then you've got a book and page setback. You've got
Yes.
a private restriction,
Mhm.
and we're violating that?
The private restrictions are, the existing house is further into the front yard, as is many of the other houses along the streets. The private restriction is no longer being enforced.
Right, we had town council look into that question, is this the type of restriction that would be enforceable by this commission or by the others on the street? And town council read through it and said, not for this commission to enforce, but that was a good question.
And just to give you a little bit of comfort on that, one of the things that my client did ask me to do was send neighbor notice to everyone on Hilton Street, not just the 100 feet neighbors, so that if anyone had any concerns about it, they could raise them.
So it's the same thing that we ended up running into on Long Lake Point.
Very similar, yes.
Okay. You
And
good?
I know we're not a legal body, but we are a governance of land use, and I
I disagree with
believe,
it.
I do believe we should care
Yeah,
about
I
private
agree with you.
restrictions.
Yeah, it's not our job to enforce them, but.
I get it,
Yes.
I get it,
I
but,
think it's important to note on the record that there is a private restriction,
Yeah.
and it is being violated.
Right.
Good pickup.
But it is, we are further back than the existing house is. The proposal will be more in conformity than existing.
More in conformity with the private.
With the
restriction.
it is in conformity with the zoning setbacks. The current house violates both zoning and that private line. The existing house will be in conformity with zoning and more in conformity with the private line.
Okay. You guys are okay?
I'm
right?
good. Yep.
You guys are good? Anybody in the general public like to speak to this application? No, I see the smiling owner there. You don't want to speak to it, he's waiting for it. Okay. Anything we're missing? Okay. With that said, can I send over, enter the motion close? Adam makes a motion, makes a second, all in favor? Okay, hearing's closed. We will deliberate on this and get back to you.
Thank you. Do you expect to deliberate tonight, or will it be another night?
I know we're doing the fire department tonight, depends on what time the Yankee game gets going. But I think so.
Exactly, just to keep them out of the playoffs, I think. The Yankees win.
I know our white box.
All right, let's go.
Mather Homestead,
Let's go on Mather Homestead.
annual permit for the
We're being nice.
Food and Fun Day. these. I don't know why we need to be seeing these.
Is that like an
'Cause
old
they like
FTH type of place?
I'm sorry?
Oh, never mind.
The Mather Homestead?
It's an antique
Like
place.
a colonial type of?
Kinda.
Okay, that's the end of the public hearing. Now we're gonna go into the general meeting item. We have a couple things on the general meeting. First is amendment to site plan application number 306, special permit, the Mather Homestead Foundation, Inc., at 19 Stephen Mather Road. Request to modify the special permit for one-time single-day basis to permit 400 plus attendees, food sales, and modified parking plan for the Fall Festival harvest in October 2023. So we got a letter in the packet with this explaining what they wanted to do. We were doing this on a year-to-year basis.
Correct.
Right? And now they want it permanent?
Nope, still year to year, and Fred and I have spoken with Heather Raker about the special permit for the Mather Homestead allows a different number of different size events. So as you can see it on the next page of the letter, it talks about large events, mid-size events, small events, and there's a limit on each, and Heather keeps track every year in terms of how many of each. During COVID, it wasn't too big of a deal, but as things start ramping back up, it's imperative that everything gets documented in terms of how many people show up, traffic control, et cetera. But the letter's self-explanatory relative to the one large event that they're hoping to have in the fall. They've had it in the fall previously, which would just be a 3-hour event, 11 to 2, on I think it's on a Saturday? Yeah.
Saturday, the 21st of
Yeah.
October.
And
23rd.
no, 21st.
Says on here the 23rd.
It should be the 21st, seriously?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's 2001, sorry.
And so where they could expect to have up to 400 people, of course, there's no way for Heather to know exactly how many people beforehand. You know, it depends on things like the weather and other things going on. But certainly, she's coming before the commission to get your review and action on this one large event. And then
Okay.
every January, she has, like the YMCA, she has to put together a schedule that we keep in our office. So if any neighbors ask, that
We did it with the Boy Scouts, we did it with the new Boy
Art
Scout
Center has
house.
to run theirs. So,
It's also unlikely that 400 people will be on the property at the same time over the
Yeah.
period
Yeah.
of the event.
That always lands, the issue always lands with being parking.
yep.
That's the thing. I know it's a general meeting item, but would you mind coming to the podium and just helping us out a little bit?
here for.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Now, last year you had a big event, which was, I don't know why I think it was said. Last year you had a big event, which probably in excess of 300 people. What was that one for? And it's not-
That was the same thing, the Fall Harvest Festival. We've done that from, I think, 2017, 18, 19, took off 2020. 21 was Darien's Heritage Day celebration, so a very sort of similar event in terms of scope. And then 22 is back to the Fall Harvest Festival, and that's what we're hoping to do this year.
That's when your board members sit there and put on the yellow jackets and do the parking?
Yes, exactly. And a police officer.
There you go,
Yes.
that's okay.
Yeah.
How many people went to it last year, do you know?
You know, quite honestly, I think it may have been more than 400 to 500, but as you said, they come at different points of time. People don't usually come for more than 45 minutes. I have plenty of pictures that I don't know if they can go on the screen, but it's a manageable, a nice group of people, but it's a manageable number at all the times.
Right, and parking ended up not being an issue because you had
Not being
great
an issue,
parking
you know, we
attendants.
now have, we used to borrow the McPherson's property behind us for parking, but now we actually own that property. So it's all, you know, on the grass, parking, people are in their sneakers, lots of volunteers helping to make sure it's safe.
Okay. And this is your biggest event every year, right?
This is for sure our biggest event. And it's not even a big fundraising event for us, but it's a great community event. It's a great, you know, I'd just like to reinforce that there's no electronics, there's no bouncy castles. This is all, you know, hay rides and petting zoo and crafts and apple bobbing and very wholesome, and tours of the homestead so people can get a sense of what life was back for, the Mathers many generations before us. And this year, we've added a reenactor to it who's going to reinforce, our Revolutionary War heritage.
I've never been inside his poem.
Well, then it's about
I know,
time.
I don't know
We
why.
give a mean tour.
Yeah, Cini loves it, I know that.
And you guys provide housing to a police officer as well, right?
Yes, we do. Joe Licari.
Thank
Yep.
you for that.
Mhm.
He's a caretaker of it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge benefit for the town. I think we need to see more of that, and I love what the firehouse was doing.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
right.
100% in favor of this application.
So now, in the special permit, can we make this 150 permanent to another number? I mean, I love seeing these guys come in every year, but,
Oh, for the special event?
yeah.
That would be nice.
Because as we're looking for the
Raise it
exception
to
of,
400 on the special permit.
No, I think what Steve's saying is
Yeah.
this one allowed the special event not only for this year, but next year as
Every year.
well.
well, if it's gonna be, if they want to make it the 4th of July instead of the Fall Festival, they can make it the
Right.
4th of July.
It's really
It doesn't matter when they make
Right.
it, but they're allowed to do it.
one,
Or is that a public hearing at it? We can't.
And if you do that, which would be so great, our neighbors, of course, would appreciate if it's a, if you approve the nature of what we do. We can't go out and have a wild wedding, so let's keep it in the vein of what this event is.
Great, no, I hear you.
yeah.
But
Heather, if I-
that would have to be a public hearing if we change that, no?
Yeah, you can't change the parameters, but certainly, I think you're allowed one large, I'll call it large event, which is more than 150 per year?
No, it's just this, and we get a special exception for it. We are not, in our permit, allowed to have more than 150 people at
Right.
any time. This is the one that we
So
ask
you couldn't
for
really approve it for multiple years.
a special exception.
Okay, got it.
But they could bring an application for a new special permit.
Right, and then you gotta notice everybody. Then the last
Do you
question
ever
is,
envision bringing an application where you knew the dates, so your application was for, you put in for 3 years?
well, it could be
Oh,
floating.
we could do that. That would be nice. It would save you guys some time. We could certainly consider that. Yeah, because we tend to do this the same time every year.
But it could, if they were gonna do a one-time 400-person thing, it could be floating. Like I said, they can make, instead of doing this, they
Yeah.
can make it 4th of July or make it New Year's Eve or something. The last question is, with regards to the neighbors, did any neighbor really complain? Because I thought you always had
No.
touchy-feely with
No,
people from New
never
Canaan.
about this. The only complaints we've got from neighbors have been if there's an evening party. We have one evening party in March, which is a fundraising event, and there was one neighbor, we had fire pits outside, and one neighbor did complain about those, and the fire department came and said everything was in order. No,
Okay.
really, the only time they would complain is an evening event. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's cool. All right, so this is a general meeting, so we can just take a straw vote. We know what they want to do, make a motion to approve. Adam makes a motion, looking for a second. Dave makes a second. All in favor?
Yep.
There you go. You got your one-time exception for your special
Thank
permit.
you.
We're all
See you
set.
next year.
You got it.
Thanks.
Good work.
Yeah, great work. You guys do a great job out there. Okay, the next item on the agenda is deliberation possible decision regarding the following. Special permit application number 290A is an Apple, PL-23-111, Alex Poon, Colonial Land Limited Partnership at 115 Old Kings Highway North. This is a proposal to establish a new day spa at the former uBreakiFix It. In our packets, we got a draft resolution dated, dated September 26th, for some reason, it's September 5th. Questions, comments, typos, scrivener's errors on this one? Anybody pick anything up on here?
Nope.
Pretty straightforward, it's only 2 pages.
Yep.
I just want to ask a question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Are they allowed to have all those for lease signs in the windows?
Well, those are, Mr. Lucacci, I can certainly call him, and I'm sure Mr. Poon will give him a call first thing tomorrow if he gets approved, saying, okay, let's get rid of the 4 lease signs
Yeah, it's-
and get him working on a tenant fit-up permit and get some improvements to the building, so.
Yeah.
certainly-
And they're gonna have a hell of a time policing the Rory's crowd.
Certainly, it's.
Become overflow, I mean, I drive by there every day to get to my office, and it's become overflow parking for Rory's.
Yeah, so certainly it's between Trader Joe's and Rory's, but again, it gives them an opportunity to advertise to those customers, hey,
Yep.
Before or after, come on in, get your nails done.
Park your car, get your nails done, and go across the street for dinner. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had the extended hours on this one, plus on Sundays. Adam, you good? Mike, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Amy, okay. Looking for a motion to approve as submitted. Amy makes a motion. Adam makes a second. All those in favor? Boom. Fantastic. You're all set, sir. All right. Next item on the agenda is minutes, approval of minutes. We have a set of minutes from September 12th, 2023. Where is that? Yep, bingo. Yeah, that's it. First item was the Weed Beach, which was continued. We opened the application, didn't do anything. Then we discussed the special permit for the application we just looked at. General meeting item again. This is the meeting I kept saying hearing closed and was really voting. We approved Ocean Primes, new front door, and then we approved the other plans for 49 Good Vibes River Road, which is a correction. And then St. John's Church, we talked about that. I think that one was, we never, and on the bottom, the commission drafted a denial. They withdrew the application, was never drafted. Motion to approve as submitted, for that. Adam makes a motion. Amy makes a second. All those in favor? Minutes are approved. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. The next item on the agenda is Chairman's Report. The only thing I really wanted to add on this one was that I think the last major tenant at Federal was came in for approval to you guys. It's Bear Burger.
They're not the last one. I thought they were the
Less
last
major, it said that.
Yeah, but they do have another, I just saw it today, a bagel shop wants to come in, and then there was I'll call it, was it a pottery place, a make-your-own pottery place is coming in. So I was in contact with Patrick McMahon as they fine-tune and finish out leasing out the first floor.
Any indication from him when he wants to come in to talk about the parking and the layout of the parking and what he was planning for it? He's still supposed to do the fencing or the blocking of the AC things on top of
Correct.
Equinox.
Patrick's
They
gonna
were
come
gonna
before the
renovate
commission.
the whole building, he said last time they were here.
Well, that's the other building. You're talking about the other building, which is the,
Equinox.
I don't think he's
The
said anything.
no, the Equinox are just putting the fencing around, screening around the other thing.
I thought-
The front building, they're redoing it.
I thought
with new windows.
I thought when he came in here last time, he was talking about taking that whole roof off and redoing it, because it's all, because
Oh,
even the
yeah.
AC equipment is super old up there. We were begging him, and Amy was hassling him on putting up screening, and he said the whole thing's gotta go.
Yeah, I think it was leaking. You might be
Yeah.
right. So we can just follow up on that.
Yeah, we've reached out to Patrick. He gave us a preliminary design. He said he's not quite ready to come in, but we told him whenever he's ready, whether it's October 3rd, which is next week, or the week after, October 10th, or even October 24th, I know he's anxious to get everything closed out.
Okay.
Because they're almost done.
Did the Citibank building ever go to ARB?
It did go to ARB, I think it was last week, so they're moving along on that as well.
Okay. Did ARB, would they look
And
for?
that's got to come to P and Z as well, because I think they're adding a little vestibule area. So that was the other reason we would be coming to you, is a small addition to 40
Heights, yeah.
Heights Road,
Citibank.
change in the site plan for Federal Realty. So he's coming to the commission, it's just a matter of when he's ready, he's got all the plans ready.
So do you think he's gonna bundle everything in one shot, or is he
I
gonna do
do
it
think it's
piecemeal?
his desire to do them both the same night.
So it's three things, though. It's Equinox building,
Yeah, the parapet.
Citibank building, and then the parking layout.
Yep. So we've asked him, and he's still working on especially the traffic redesign. He wants to make sure he gets that right.
Okay.
If you can gently remind them about that parapet.
Right,
Yes.
I think that was part of it. I think the
Yeah.
roof was leaking, so they had to
Yeah.
pull everything off, and then they looked at it and go, wow, this stuff is ugly. And that
Yeah.
was your call.
Yeah.
That was your
Okay.
thing. I keep wanting to write a longer chairman's report, but we'll pick that for another day. On director's report, can you just comment on Palmer's or Heights Crossing, and then on Corbin, relative to those two?
Sure, John Viccaro's project, which is the redevelopment of the Noroton Heights Shopping Center, which is at the corner of Hollow Tree and Heights. He's moving right along. You can see he's demoed the buildings. He's starting in on the foundations, 2 separate foundations. And that's going to take a while to get the grades set. And you see the big pile of dirt right near the road and things like that. But that's moving along. Corbin project in downtown. They finally demolished the whole block. I think the last building went down
Today.
yesterday.
10
Today.
Corbin.
10 Corbin.
Because it
Today?
closed
Was it
today.
this morning or
Yeah, it was
yesterday?
the whatever that road is.
Corbin Drive's been
was
blocked off for
closed
safety.
off, yeah. Every day we've been getting nabbed on that. But no, they finished demolishing it today, or at least most of it. There's still some little piles of it still stuck up there.
So it's the same thing. Now he's got to get everything back to the grade and then start making room for the 2 new foundations, multiple new foundations.
Anybody approach you at all relative to Bartucci's?
I did. It's expected you'll see an application for a public hearing, we think in November. They keep talking about submitting, but they haven't submitted anything yet. But Fred and I did speak with the attorney who represents a potential buyer, and they're working on preparing an application.
Was it a scrape or is it a
Nope, they're gonna knock the building down, start from scratch. And the biggest issue, of course, no doubt, will be traffic getting in and out of there safely. And I've spoke to Police Chief Don Anderson, who has some very strong opinions of the importance of being able to get in and out.
What do they want to do
Commercial or
there?
residential?
It's gonna be commercial.
Okay. That's it for, I think, anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, I think what we're gonna do next week, we have one public hearing, which is the Weed Beach Meadow and Trail Project, which is really when the town bought the house on Short Lane many, many years ago. It's kind of been sitting, it's gotten overgrown, and so the Parks and Rec Commission has put together a plan that's already gone to EPC, gotten approval. It's hopefully gonna get to you next week, and that will be the only public hearing on for next week. The question I had for the commission, we wanted to bring Dave Keating back to talk about a number of items, one of which is accessory dwelling units. Wasn't sure if you wanted to do that on the 3rd or on the 10th,
The short answer is yes.
right?
Whatever is best for him, because we have to move that ball forward.
Okay.
And there's an election gonna happen, which is, I'm sure we can have a public hearing in September, no, October? No, it's even past it. We're gonna have a
It might
public
be
hearing.
November or January.
So we're gonna miss it's gonna be after the election.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we may have some other zoning changes to talk about as well next week. There was one state statute that passed that all the towns in the state got an email, hey, don't forget this statute. It's like, didn't even hear about that one.
Oh, really?
So, stuff like that happens. So,
What's going on with Wegmans? What's their timeframe? I know they've knocked the building down back there and they've got piles of dirt everywhere.
yep, we did
And
talk
I know that's
to,
not under your purview, but it's
But it's still
Which one?
Wegmans.
Norwalk. In Norwalk.
Oh.
They're
right,
building-
Jay Klein, who works for Carmody Torrance, was meeting with us on another matter, and we asked him the same question. He said they're still targeting a 2025 open.
Okay.
He was optimistic that the traffic improvements that they're making, although there'll be more traffic than there was at MBI, there'll be other ways to get in and out.
Are they gonna have 2 entrance and exits?
There will be, my understanding, and I looked closely at the site plan, that there'll be kind of an entrance out the back.
Kind of
Kind of what Costco has.
Has that back rear road, yeah.
Only the locals know about it.
Right by
Okay.
Reynolds.
Anything else important that you want to add? Because I would like to do the deliberations of a couple of things, since we have a
Sure.
little bit of time.
I think that's all we have, Fred, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to get a 2/3 vote to add other business, and the other business would be to deliberate at least on the fire department and the 3 applications we saw tonight, so you guys can move them. Can I get that motion? As Adam makes a motion, Mike makes a second, all in favor? Okay, so we're gonna go into other business, and deliberate the Noroton Fire Department application. Proposal to amend the Darien Zoning Map, COZM number 1-2023, PL-23-121, put forth by the Noroton Fire Department. 1921 Boston Post Road, special permit application number 332, site plan. First order of business. They want to convert the zoning on that piece to municipal overlay, MU zone. We did it for all the other firehouses, municipal buildings and schools.
Yep.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, great.
I'll go
Then
for
the
it.
second would be the special permit to allow that use to be a residential use, so people could live there versus being a business use in the current business zone, which is today it's neighborhood business. Anybody?
Is that permissible in municipal use?
Well,
Yeah.
Residential?
Yeah,
it's actually, well, it's permissible in the NB zone because Vicaria's got it across the street.
Right, you can have
Of course, got it on the corner,
residential on
too.
an upper floor, but what we talked about is principal uses requiring a special permit. Municipal buildings, structures, and uses, including facilities of the Board of Ed. 422B, buildings, structures, and uses that serve a public purpose, not including uses, read this, carried on primarily for profit that would normally be constructed or operated by the municipality, but which are under the auspices of a quasi-municipal entity such as the library or Post 53, or one of the 3 privately operated volunteer fire departments.
So is that what we did for the post 53, or for the EMT house?
That is, I believe, what we did for the EMT.
I'm feeling happy George isn't here.
Yeah, no.
We'd be stuck here arguing all night over for-profit and not-for-profit.
I'll let the fire department makes any money if they get paid.
Right.
They have a budget requested money for the town.
Right.
Right, so
Yeah.
it's,
I think
is
it
it
makes,
A, is it B?
I think it makes a lot of sense for the town, and I'm 100% in favor of it.
Me too.
The only question I have is, for private residents in town, there is no public waste disposal. So private residents have the option to haul their garbage to the dump or to get a carter, pay it monthly, have them come pick recycling and garbage up.
Mhm.
Can we put in this approval, the stipulation that they must get trash hauling away so that they're not on the hook of themselves having to bring it to the dump, in which it could potentially pile up or become some type of issue?
But they're already doing it for the firehouse.
Roger for the house.
But the-
He's got more kids and more mouths at his house to feed.
But the firehouse is
Three
several doors down, it's not an adjacent property.
I don't think it's adjacent, is it?
No.
No.
Two doors, isn't it? Three doors?
That's the only thing, it's
The
not,
adjacent piece is Vicaria's building.
yeah.
But it's, do we require people that have 5 kids and 2 parents living in the house? How many kids do you have?
2.
Right, so there's 4 people live in your house.
Well, that's what I'm saying, there's no requirement now, so in theory, we don't have to, and they could just not do it, they could haul it themselves, they could figure out some intraway. But I think it would make sense here to have them have it hauled away versus letting them just kind of take care of it.
I don't even know what the fire department, I've seen the fire trucks, pickup trucks go to the dumping their own stuff.
Yeah, I think the neighbor's concern was more of a dumpster that goes at 6 in
Yeah.
the morning and boom.
That's the only thing we heard about
Right.
was a
Right.
dumpster, so I'm just wondering about the garbage, because if we do convert it to private, you could get the opposite thing where the garbage never gets taken away. I'm not saying that it will happen, but it could potentially happen.
Well, then
They
it's
got a
okay.
bunch of 20-year-olds living there, maybe they forget to
But
haul
there
garbage
is
away
this-
for a couple days.
Yeah, but these are also kids that are kicking down doors and putting out a fire in your house. They're not like,
Trust me, if they
Irresponsible
got downtime, they'll take 4 recycling bottles to the dump and get their
right.
dump it.
Okay.
I don't.
It's an idea, I respectfully disagree with it.
All right.
I wouldn't really worry about it. I mean, we don't know if the fire department, if any of the fire departments ever have like a party. You know, in the Road Heights Fire Department, they have a big party. I don't know if they get haul the garbage themselves or they have county carting come pick it up.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said, yeah.
I also don't, like, you don't want to overburden them, right? Like, if they've got a kid that's going to drive it down there and they don't have to pay anyone for it, it's a savings to the town.
Well, yeah, it's $75 a month or something like that. All right, well.
Otherwise, no, I don't have any other issues.
No issues.
Okay, draft up an approval of that one.
Yeah,
Do you want to go on to the next one, the Richmond Drive?
yeah.
Land filling regrading application number 555 PL-23-114, Theresa N, Iorfino Revocable Trust at 9 Richmond Drive. Looks like they're just raising their house and putting a new house in the same location with minor regrading. That's what we saw. Any questions on that one?
No, the only comment I guess I'd make, Jeremy, is if we could get them to put fresh meadow in the stormwater management reports, just so we know that they've looked at our standard, followed our standard. You know, if they use consistent language, I don't have to go searching for it.
I agree, and that was a question, I think it was us or Joe Canis had. And he's like, no, I found it, it's here. So we'll talk to Wayne and say,
Just for
make
consistency's
it
sake.
easy.
Yeah. So as a condition of approval inside the resolution, so that they resubmit their drainage report to add the words fresh meadow or instead of a vacant lot or whatever they did.
Okay.
Okay, you good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So with the file, you're gonna have a new one with a new date. You good?
I'm
You
good.
good? Okay. The next one is landfill regrading application number 556 PL-23-122. Brian and Brett Edgar at 30 Hilton Street. Looks like they're chopping off the front of the house, cutting in the front to put a 2-car garage underneath the house, getting rid of the garage in the back, moving the driveway over, turning that asphalt to grass, putting in Cultec systems, and renovate the whole house inside and outside. It's not super straightforward, but it's pretty straightforward.
The only caveat that I have is that I would like to see that proof of mailing to the neighbors that Amy Zabatakis, I believe, represented that they sent proof of mailing to all the people involved in that private deed restriction that were benefit from that private deed restriction. I would like to see that. Just to make sure we are, in fact, you're always on top of things, but I just want to make sure we are as well.
That's a good point. I mean, if people are going to violate restrictions, I should tell the other people in the association of what they're doing. But that wouldn't be a legal proof of mailing that doesn't have to submit to you.
I understand that but she brought it up.
Correct.
That
She opened the
they
door.
went and offered to do that, and they in fact did that. I would like to see that.
Okay, it might be online already?
It might be
We'll take a
online,
look.
okay. If
We'll
it
look
is,
later. If not, we'll
just direct me in the
ask her
right
to
spot.
upload it.
Okay. Adam, anything else?
No, I think this is actually the one that I had fresh meadow comment on, Jeremy.
Oh, this one, you're right.
This is the one.
Sorry.
They called it a vacant lot.
They called it a vacant lot.
Right, yeah, because they didn't.
This was the one.
It was all
And
grass. And now it's
I guess, do we put anything in the resolution about the private restriction? Just
I think we could, if
Just
you
a-
wanted to.
You can
comment that it
in the
exists.
finding
Yeah.
portion of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you picked it up on the survey.
Yeah, Amy, I agree with you, like, it's not our job to enforce it, but we also should make it
Acknowledge
very
it.
clear that it's out there, because I think they
Yep.
did the same thing on
Yep.
Long Neck Point, they
Yep.
actually violated their own
Their own,
restriction.
yeah.
Yep.
Which is as odd as can be.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
Yep.
Okay, so you're writing about his approval with a couple
Yep.
special doodads that we asked for. All right, so that's the end of the other business. Any other business to add to that other business? No, we're good, right? Next upcoming meetings, October 3rd and October 10th, back to back. So that's going to be next week and the week after. Excuse me. And I think you said October 24th,
Correct?
right? And then do we have one on Election Day?
Well, we do this year, we are scheduled, but I wanted to talk to you about that as well. Sometimes we meet on election day, sometimes we don't. In this case, it's not a federal election, and there's no contested races.
Yeah.
But it's totally up to the commission. If there's, at this point, fingers crossed, it's not urgent enough, there's not enough on the agenda that if you guys want to cancel, you're not really getting in people's way.
It is a municipal election,
It is.
and we are municipal people, and I think you're up for re-election, you're up for
George is.
re-election. So if you could vote it out, we don't even need you.
George is.
is that a possibility?
No, it's not a possibility.
Can we ask?
No,
the
actually, I
viewers?
think
This is a writing campaign.
I think their terms run through January, right? So even
No,
it's that day.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, look at your charge card,
Yeah, I
look at
don't
your
re-
charge
I don't-
card
I don't
in your
remember
wallet.
when I started. if
No,
it was-
you expire the day of election day.
There you go.
So
Cancel?
if you're doing, yeah, I would cancel it.
Sure.
And whatever you're doing on your calendar, if you're gonna move whatever, something forward or something backwards. if
Yeah,
you
as long
move
as
it-
we know, we can adjust accordingly, but great.
All right. I think that's it. Anything else we got? We're good? I think I had a motion to adjourn
Wait,
from Mike.
do we have a meeting on the 31st
No,
of
no
October?
meeting on
Okay,
Halloween.
Halloween, just making sure.
So we have 2 weeks off in a row.
That would be an out for me unless you want me
Yeah.
to.
So we have 31st, we have 31st off and the next one off.
Yep.
Okay?
Bag of candy.
We got a motion to adjourn from Mike, looking for a second. Adam's got the second. All those in favor?
All righty.
All righty, 8:46. Thank you, Karen. Thank you,
Sounds
TV
like-
79.
We did the same
On
thing.
our road, we have little.